Right before we leave Hal Leonard's Method Book 1 behind, I want to go back a little bit and use some of the old songs and move them into position 5. This will reinforce your reading and require some actual note naming once again. Way back in the beginning, the first thing we learned was that our open strings were E, A, D, G, B, and E. At some point we got to the 5th fret and learned those notes as E, D, G, C, E, A. Mostly they're the same as the open strings. The 5th fret A on the 6th string tunes your open A string. 5th fret D on the 5th string tunes your open 4th string D. G tunes your G, C tunes nothing. The B is at the 4th fret to tune the open B string, and then we're back at the 5th fret for the E. So we can use that to get ourselves started on that string. We've gone through the notes in that position many times, figuring out all the position as a C Ionian or an A Aeolian. This time I want to just treat it as though you're trying to get ready to read your notes that you've learned here, but over in the 5th position. So we learned that E, F, and G had this relationship. E is right beside the F, G is 2 frets over. So if I can find this E at the 5th fret, F's are right beside it at the 6th fret, and G's at the 8th. B, C, and D have the exact same relationship. They don't line up the same way when we go from the 2nd to the 3rd string because of the tuning, but we have the same half step to C, whole step to D. G and A on the 3rd string are open and 2nd fret, just the 2 notes 2 frets apart, and here they are on the 4th string. We can continue all up and down that position, but that's all we need right now. Those give us the exact same notes we learned when we mastered our first 3 strings in the first month or so of Hal Leonard. We had G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. When you learned that, your ear may have been puzzled by the F note. Because we're starting and ending on G's, you may have wanted a G major scale, which would have an F sharp in it, 1 fret higher than the F. But we're not going to worry about that right now. We're just transferring this information into the 5th fret. So E, F, and G. There's your E at the 5th fret. Same relationship. B, C, and D. There's a B, B, C, and D. So B, C, D, E, F, G, we have here. B, C, D, E, F, G. Open G and A are at the 5th fret and 7th of the 4th string. So we have G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Bonus notes A, B, and C on the top string. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. We're actually in the key of C. And our first songs were in the key of C. Au Clair de Lune on page 13 had started on a C note. We had C, 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 D, E, D, C, E, D, D, C. Now we can take that to our 5th position. What I like to do when I learn a new instrument or even a new string or a new position on guitar is treat it just like I did when I learned my very first material. I didn't write Ode to Joy here. We did actually talk about that one other time. Ode to Joy would be E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, E, D, D. So I could do that here. E, E, F, G, and so on. With Clair de Lune, I'd hope for this exercise you don't just use your ear. I'd want to actually name those notes. 3 C's, C, 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 D, E, D, C, E, D, D, C, and come to your 5th position and use this as a map. I actually like to have it laid out just like we did when we learned our first notes. So if I know it's a C and I can look at my map, there's my C, 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 there's a D, and it's at this fret. E is on this string. E, back to that D, C, up to the next string for E, back to D, and so on. So up in the 5th position, we have 5th fret to 7 for D to 5th fret on the 2nd string for E. C, 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 D, E, D, C, E, D, D, C, I've used a repeat sign to say let's do that again. In Hal Leonard, they write it a second time. C, 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 D, E, D, C, E, D, D, C. And we have these Ds, and the A is directly below it on the fourth string. Then we do a scale down from D. D, C, B, A, G. That D and A were on an angle back here because of the second string shift. D had to be a fret higher on the second string than you would find it in relation to an A on a different string. And then we're back to the beginning. I didn't write that out, but you would know it in your Hal Leonard. We're back to the C line. Orally starts a little lower. We learned that on page 14. You can go to your page 14 to play open G to C to open B to C. At the fifth position, G's on the fifth fret, and so is C. B is right beside it to the left. D, A, D we just saw are in the same fret. Scale down from C. C, B, A, B, C, G. I didn't put the G here because I want to do this on a repeat rather than write it twice. So now I'm back here, G, C, B, C. B's beside C's, D's are higher. A's right under it. Scale down from C and run back up from A to B to C. E's are on the next string, 5th fret. Make sure I wrote it right. E, D, C, D. Nice long E. E and F. Back to a D, A, D. Scale down from C to B to A to B to C. You may notice the change in timbre when we play at the 5th fret or any fretted position as opposed to the open. The open will have more twang. You can hear the strings start ringing more than they do here. They're a little more controlled by your finger pressure when you're fretting them. A little warmer too. Versus this. And I have Amazing Grace here. We can go one string lower. This might actually get you thinking you're getting too low in the position, and this is why we have different positions. So open D to open G to open B. This is G pentatonic major. A, G, E, D. I was so pleased back then to talk to you about 2s and O's. The G major scale, 3, O2, 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 O. We get all these opens and seconds in G, which makes playing in G major pentatonic really a treat in the open position. Here it won't be quite as handy probably. We want the D at the 5th fret of the 5th string and the G on the 4th string. A to G, E to D. Just as we would have 2 to O back at the open, here we'd have 7 5s. Just because of the timbre of the string, I may not actually want to play this here. I may enjoy the open position. But I'll finish it out here anyway because it gets us to learn this D and E really well. So here I'll start again. D, G, B, B, A, G, 7 to 5, E, D, 7 to 5, G and D, B. Hopefully I wrote that right. Yes, I've got an A to D there. Now we have B to D. 4th fret to 7, B to G, E, G, E, D, D, G, B, B, A, this must be a G major pentatonic because it's the same notes we had back here and said was a G major pentatonic back in Sweet Home Alabama, for instance. And in fact, this is major pentatonic. It's scale 3. We've got our 5s and 7s, the column, the stagger with the augmented steps, and back to A and B on top. What you might want to do if you found out that that's too low for you, you can take things up an octave. I could go to a D and a G and a B up higher. These also would be in a pentatonic scale. This would be scale 4. So we could play D, G, and B up here now. A, G, E, D. Notice the relationship's the same. Here's our D, E to G, E to D. A to G. So that's another use of Hal Leonard. Go on back and play all your old songs, but start moving them around the neck. Start with the 5th position because we get really nice access to the same notes we had in the open position. So have a good night. Talk to you guys later. Bye.